So if you tried out the examples, the answers are here. So here are the answers to each expression. So number 1 would have been root 2 plus root 6 over 4. Number 2, that would be root 6 plus 2 over 4. And then notice number 4 is the same. So number 4 is cosine of pi over 12. If you convert it, it's cosine of 15 degrees. So that's why I didn't have you do it again. You would get the same exact value. Okay. But for number 5, so tangent of 5 pi over 12. So a lot of work involved in that because you're not allowed to have radicals in the denominator. And so just looking at the work of how to do that is here. And after all of that, it reduces down to 2 plus root 3. So let's go ahead and try our final example using a difference formula. So this is going to be for the case when we're not using a unit circle. So we have cosine of A equals negative 4 over 5, and A is between 3 pi over 2. Then we see sine of B is 5 over 13, and that is B is between 0 and pi over 2. So it's telling us what quadrant we're in. Remember that cosine is cosine is x over r, and sine is y over r. So we need to draw these triangles and figure out what we need. So we have cosine A sine of B. We're trying to find cosine of A minus B. So we're given cosine of A, sine of B, so therefore we need to find sine of A, and then we also need to find cosine of B. So those are the values we need in order to figure out what cosine A minus B is. So we take a look at the unit circle. We know that cosine that A is between pi and 3 pi over 2. Here's pi, here's 3 pi over 2. So remember that the numerator for negative 4 over 5, that's our x value, that's negative 4. 5 is the radius, it's our hypotenuse. So here is 5. So we need to figure out what is this y value, or the missing side here. So we can say the radius, not the radius, we know that y equals the square root of 5 squared minus 4 squared. Which is 25 minus 16, which is square root of 9, which means that the y value is 3. And then in this case, it's a negative 3, right? Because in this quadrant, the y value is negative, so it's negative 3. So our sine of A is actually negative 3 over 5. So cosine of B, we know that that is between 0 and pi over 2. So here is 0, here is pi over 2, and we know we're in quadrant 1. So sine of B is 5 over 13. So 5 is our y value. Here is 5. 13 is our hypotenuse, or the radius. So we need to figure out what is this x value so we can figure out what cosine of B is. So that is 13 squared minus 5 squared. And so once you do that, that would be square root of 144, or x equals 12. And so it's positive 12. Therefore, cosine of B is 12 over 13. So we have cosine of A minus B. We want to try and figure out what is cosine of A minus B. Cosine of A minus B. So that formula, again, that difference formula, is cosine of A, cosine of B, plus sine of A, sine of B. So just notice for cosine, those formulas, that the cosines are together and the sines are together. The other thing to notice is that the sines are opposite. So it's negative here, that means it's going to be positive here. Just to kind of help you out with maybe memorizing it a little bit, okay, to help you out with these. So cosine of A, we just plug in what we have. So we know cosine of A is negative 4 over 5. So negative 4 over 5. Cosine of B is 12 over 13. Plus sine of A. Sine of A is negative 3 over 5. And then sine of B is 5 over 13 times 5 over 13. So now, so let's do this one. Negative 4 over 12 is negative 48 over 5 times 13 is 65. And then negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. So positive negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. 5 over 13 is 65. So it's the same. The denominators are the same, so I just wrote it over the same denominator. So if we simplify this, 48 minus 15, that is negative 63 over 65. So that is our final answer. We find cosine of A minus B by finding our missing values that we need. So we had cosine of A, we had sine of B, so we find the others, sine of A, cosine of B. It's very important to draw the triangles, figure out what quadrant you're in, because you have to know what sign it is. There's nothing more frustrating when you're trying to do these problems and then it doesn't come out to the right answer, and it's most likely because you forget the values, the signs of each one. Okay, so go ahead and try the next examples. So there is one here, and then so you have to figure out what is the values you're missing here. For number 6 through 9, this bunch right here, you have to figure out just the values that you need. So this one you need cosine of A, you also need you need sine of B. Sine of B. And then what's great about this is once you figure out those values, you can use them for all four beneath. And actually the one extra thing that you need to find is tangent. So tangent of A and tangent of B. Remember that tangent is y over x. So once you figure that out, you have your y value for A here, and then you have your x value here. So go ahead and try it out. In the next video, I'll go ahead and work it out for you.